All right, so why do we have the death penalty? We have the death penalty because of this concept of retribution, which is a very strong impulse in human beings. And recent polls have shown that retribution is the #1 reason that people who favor the death penalty favor the death penalty. Sentiments like an eye for an eye, or they took a life, they deserve to lose theirs. It fits the crime, they deserve it. Things like that. That's all retribution. What retribution basically is revenge. It's basically bloodlust. And it is a deeply held impulse and emotion in all human societies. It's pervasive, it's long-standing, and it's not just here in America, although America is really one of the last places that has the death penalty. People have felt that way forever, and probably many of you do. And again, I'm not trying to change your views, I'm just trying to educate you about things. So, as a result of this deeply held view that we need to extract retribution and we need to get revenge, and that people like that idea and people like the death penalty, and studies have shown that approximately 70% of Americans currently do favor the death penalty. Politicians almost universally favor the death penalty, because not favoring the death penalty is not going to get you elected if 70% of the populace does favor the death penalty. If 70% of the populace favors the death penalty and you come out against it, you are going to be labeled soft on crime, inevitably. And no politician can afford that, regardless of your party affiliation. You can't be perceived as soft on crime in this day and age and get elected. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, Tea Party, doesn't matter. So politicians, in their zeal to get elected and stay elected, tend to be big supporters of the death penalty. The most recent and glaring example of that was our previous county attorney. Andrew Thomas, who some of you know the name at least, in his zeal, and I would respectfully submit it was politically motivated, he turned Maricopa County into the death penalty capital of the country, and Myrna mentioned some of those statistics in her opening remarks. During his administration, we had more death penalty cases pending than Texas, Florida, places like that. Notwithstanding the fact that the homicide rate in Maricopa County hadn't gone up a bit. In fact, it had somewhat decreased. What's up with that? I can tell you what's up with that. What's up with that is he was trying to get elected and stay elected. And furthermore, he was trying to advance. He was trying to become Attorney General, then maybe governor, possibly president, emperor, master of the universe, whatever, you get the idea. Fortunately for all of us, his plans didn't quite work out, and he did not succeed in his bid for Attorney General. I suspect, although I'm sure he won't say so, that Mr. Catania is somewhat relieved about that. And in fact, Mr. Thomas is currently facing disbarment, but that's on unrelated matters. So basically what we've got here, folks, is a system that serves no utilitarian purpose, not deterrence, not incapacitation, not closure, certainly not rehabilitation. If you could advance one more slide, please. Oh, whatever, that's fine, okay. And it's serving no societal purpose other than to satisfy our impulse for revenge and our bloodlust. And it also serves politicians' desires to prey upon and exploit those very base human instincts that we have. It's unreasonably expensive to operate. Again, it serves no utilitarian purpose. It promotes state-sanctioned racism, and it occasionally results in the execution of innocent people. So there you have it. Sounds like a great idea, don't you think? Thank you for your time and attention. I appreciate it.
I'm pleased to be here. Can everyone hear me without the microphone? Would you rather I use the microphone? Yes. We call them inside voices and outside voices, and some of my family members don't have inside voices, but I will be able to use my inside voice with this. As was mentioned, I'm an attorney with the Arizona Attorney General's office. It has been my great pleasure to serve under 4 different attorneys general. I started there when Grant Woods was the Attorney General. To give you an idea of, I guess, why I like what I do, why I like my job, I think when I reflect back on the first meeting that I had with Terry Goddard, I had recently been promoted under Janet Napolitano to head up a section at the Attorney General's office. And my first meeting with Terry Goddard, his marching orders were to do what you think is right. Don't worry about any political consequences. Just let me know what you're doing. And he's stuck with that. And every Attorney General that I've served under has had that as a mantra. Certainly for those of us in the criminal division, we've just been charged with trying to do what we think is right. And it makes for an enjoyable work environment. We've had very supportive, fun people to work with, including the attorneys general and co-workers. It's a very collegial group of people who are trying to do the right thing. I don't really view my role as being an advocate for the death penalty. I'm somewhat ambivalent about the death penalty. I'm obviously not opposed to it and don't think that it's morally reprehensible. The reasons that I have for being somewhat ambivalent have very little to do with the ones that have been proffered here. And I'll get into those maybe towards the end. But I believe that the death penalty is a decision that we can make as a society. We've made that decision in the state of Arizona as well as in the United States. The federal government also has a death penalty. I don't think we have the death penalty for the reasons that have been advanced. I think we have it because we as a society have determined that there are some actions, some crimes that are so serious that the appropriate punishment is death. There was some discussion about an eye for an eye approach to justice. I think that gets a bad rap. I think our criminal justice system is appropriately patterned after an eye for an eye. That doesn't mean we rape the rapist or poke out someone's eye who's poked someone else's eye out. What eye for an eye stands for is a system of justice where the punishment is commensurate with the crime. And that's, as a model of criminal justice, that's certainly a better model than I think other teachings from the Bible or religious teachings that we learned growing up. Certainly the Sermon on the Mount, the Prayer of St. Francis are beautiful expressions and an excellent way to something to follow in leading our personal lives. But they don't form the basis for a good criminal justice system. I think a fair criminal justice system, we try to have punishments that fit the crimes. I want to give you just a little bit of background in terms of how the death penalty works in Arizona. Not every murderer is eligible for the death penalty. We have a statute that prescribes certain aggravating circumstances. And if a murder is committed and at least one of these aggravating circumstances is present, the state can elect to choose the death penalty. Some of those aggravating circumstances include, for example, multiple homicides. If someone kills more than one person, they're eligible for the death penalty. If you kill a police officer, if the motive for the murder is financial gain, and there's a series of aggravating circumstances that if applicable, render someone subject to the death penalty. If a murder is committed, the prosecution has to look at it, and in Arizona, throughout the state, the decision whether to seek death is made by the various county attorneys around the state. The Attorney General does try a few cases. I think we've had maybe 3 homicide cases in the last 3 or 4 years. The vast majority of the cases are tried by the different county attorneys. The Attorney General's office primarily handles conflict cases, or if a county feels that they don't have the resources or needs assistance to handle the case. The Attorney General's office doesn't take over the case until there's been a conviction and death sentence for these other cases throughout the state. The decision to seek death is not taken lightly. We've made a recommendation. Under Jana Napolitano, we had a capital commission in 2001, and the recommendation was made that any time death is sought, that the decision be made by more than one person. And my experience in looking around the state and seeing the various counties, that is happening. There's generally a capital review group. We have one at the Attorney General's office, and we convene that anytime we're set to try a homicide case. And the prosecutor who's assigned has to work up the history for this committee, this panel, and explain what the aggravating circumstances are, and explain, to the extent they know, what type of mitigating circumstances there might be. And we give the defense attorney an opportunity to explain